economy of stories in the world that we don't know because we really enjoy this in the world.
Absolutely true, yeah. I mean, when you about it on how mermaids are portrayed, in like popular culture. It was silent, like silenced characters would be the right way to put it out. They're portrayed as voiceless, longing, incomplete. When you picture, you kind of picture them. There's a beach, there are like rock patches, all over the beach. You find a mermaid just, longing, looking lost. That's kind of the immediate visual that pops up when you think of mermaids. But Ila, like, the main character, the narrator's voice, and the main character in Incantations of Water is different. The character, evolves from like a narrator, in Mermaids of the Moonlight, all over to the central character in Incantations of Water. She has a voice that's stable, poetic, and unafraid. A voice that's loved, that stands. Was giving her that voice, an act of resistance to what the popular culture, all the other cultures portray, mermaids as.
I would say it's an actually resistance the one thing so elegant coming, so speaking to a lot of people from the north of Java. But magical culture, it's just not there in art or in cinema, and I felt that erasure in language, and I wanted to create works that now enter, the English language, and fortunately, Mermaids in the Moonlight has been translated into Tamil by a translator whom has
Lovely, that's nice.
because of, as someone who worked mostly out of the island and remains a member of the diaspora, and is very aware in so many ways of the evasion of my culture, of my language, of the history of my book, which is my own history. These books are acts of resistance to erasure without denying erasure. This is why I do not at any point pretend that there is a folklore about the memory. If there is, I can find it. And that's okay. But in my research and in my study, it wasn't there. So I honor the folkloric world. I honor the fact that there are losses which will not be. And culture is not supposed to be monolithic, and it is not supposed to be anything other than dynamic and evolving. And loss is a part of that. That doesn't mean that I can go without any knowledge of
Other than this, Saranya Mani
Companion books. Mermaids in the Moonlight is a picture book for all images. It is the story of how an Ilangai Tamil woman takes her child to the island lagoon and gives her an inheritance of stories. And these are mermaid stories from around the world, but they're also stories of the culture and the land and the lagoon. In Incantations of the Water, there is an adult woman from the diaspora who goes to the lagoon and encounters a mermaid. And it's the mermaid who tells her stories, not only from around the world, but also from that world itself. Both of these stories are created with respect and sorrow and pride and joy as testimonies of my culture, which is very underrepresented in literature, in cinema, in the arts.
Available on offline and online also. These books are available?
Yes, they're available right here at Crossway.
Online, online also is available.
Shall we get back, sir?
Thanks, sir.
Certain elements of, inclusive elements in a way which you may not be able to otherwise. And so that gives me a sense of creativity.
Metaphors for desire itself, for loving across seemingly impossible distances.
impossible love is a recurring theme in all my work. And impossible can mean many things. Would it be alright if I read an excerpt from Incantations?
Yeah, do please. Absolutely love to hear. Yeah.
So unfortunately, there isn't a facility to share the art, but I really hope that you can have the book and experience it for yourself. I want to read a little section which is actually about other species, marine life, and the environment, and seeing ourselves as part of an ecosystem. This is an eco-feminist book in a lot of ways. That is one of the political underpinnings of this book. And I'll just read a little section in which Ela, who is telling a woman many stories, she says that at one point she bought a kelpie, which is a kind of mer horse. And the kelpie had come to the waters of, I suppose, the Gulf of Mannar, or maybe the Kaladi Lagoon, looking for a Timingalam, which is a South Asian concept of a very large and quite frightening whale-like creature. And she tells him that she's not Timingalam, but she can tell him another story about another whale. And this is actually a real event happened in 2018, which some of you may know about. I had never known a Timingalam, and the kelpie's eyes were moist and diaphanous when he heard this. I nuzzled him and told him about an orca I did know, Taliqua of the Cascadian waters. Taliqua had a little one who did not survive, and in their grief, her pod carried the newborn as they weaved 1,000 miles of mourning. For at least 17 days, one for each month that she had nourished her baby in her womb, Taliqua and her kin took turns to keep the carcass afloat, pushing it with their heads, nuzzling it with their snouts. They kept it at every moment within their embrace for as long as Taliqua needed to gather what she required to release it into the heart of the ocean. I too had tracked the sonar song of the pod through their pilgrimage. And so it is. One grief awakens all grief everywhere, and all love is imbued with all prior manifestations of love. This is how we recognize one another. All is love, all is longing. On the sediment of the depths of the sea, pufferfish golems, they sweep their fins along the sand, dancing in patterns that create mandalas that denote harmony. I woo you with beauty, I woo you with symmetry. Perhaps I show you someday. All is love, all is longing. Watch the spawning sea turtle and tell me you haven't heard anything about letting go. Watch the spawning sea turtle and tell me you haven't learned anything about coming home. My short story collection, The High Priestess Never Marries. I believe it's not in stock, but you can ask Crossword to bring it in. And it being Valentine's Day, this theme of love and longing being what we're talking about, I thought I would just share this little bit. The context of the story is not really relevant. It deals with a Sumerian myth. But this is just how it ends. After my huluku tree was destroyed, I made a garden by scattering each kernel of unrequited longing and irrevocable loss I had experienced. One heartache turned into a hot-blooded hibiscus. One cruel twist of fate curved into a caveat of magnolias. One unspeakable trauma cliched into a serious cactus with moon-kissed white petals. One broken promise took wing as a bird of paradise, permanently bent and profoundly beautiful. This is how you live, with the knowledge of all you could not do. You take all the love you intended for only one thing, and you spread it out, wherever it can take suck. Having so much, you need not take more. You let it thrive, and you live. I tell you, you live. Without talking about silencing, which wouldn't happen if there was more listening.
Could you explain your award-winning moment?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Award-winning moment.
Award-winning.
My award-winning moment. Actually, I did want to say, Mermaids in the Moonlight has only been nominated for awards, it's not won anything. This book did. High Priestess Never Marries won a South Asia Ladli Award, which was very, very meaningful to me because the Ladli Awards are for gender sensitivity. And women are disproportionately silenced and erased. And to have my book be recognized for a gender sensitivity award as a feminist book was very meaningful to me. Similarly, in 2024, I received a Devi Award, which once again honors women achievers.
Who is your target audience? Your book section.
It really depends on the book because my picture books are for all ages. I'm somebody who loves picture books myself, and I really don't think of them as being limited only for children. Many of my other books really are strictly for adults because of the themes that are included. I can't say if I have any particular target audience in mind because mostly I write for myself, I write from my heart, and if that reaches out to anybody else, that's special.
You have any future project?
So I am working on a few things. I'm working on 2 books of fiction, 2 novels, a few short story collections in the works, and I'm also working on a very personal non-fiction